Do you cut people off because you're not willing to face the consequences of your actions? There comes times in our life where we can feel like we need to cut people off or stay in an environment that no longer serves us, fulfills us, or aligns with us. And there's different types of people in different kinds of scenarios that can either keep you entrapped in one place for too long or can make people just walk away when there's no real or tangible reasons to why they should be leaving. And there's different types, as I say, one of which can be someone that just cuts people off easily because they're not willing to face their actions. They're not willing to be heard out, or they're not willing to hear someone else out for the reason why they're feeling a certain way about them. So instead of having to face conflict or confrontation, they'll just completely remove themselves from that person's life and just cut them off without any other question asked. There's other people that sometimes will tolerate far more than what they should because they're afraid of being on their own, or they're afraid of what the repercussion could be in their life if they decide to cut somebody off. So they'll stay in environments that don't serve them anymore, or they'll stay around people that they simply don't align with, share beliefs with, or they've maybe even outgrown in life overall because they're fearful of what it could be in life without them, because they almost feel indebted to them because of almost like the sunk cost fallacy, where you've put so much time, effort, and energy into something that it feels like such a waste to walk away from it. And that can also be seen in friendships, relationships, close social circles, even in business partnerships. You can outgrow a business partner or have a different vision to them, no longer feel like you really resonate with the mission of the business. And instead of doing the right thing and going your separate ways, you think it's more of an idea to stay together. And what that overall does is, instead of helping you grow more, helping you get bigger and better and go to the environments that you're now aligning more with, you keep yourself confined to a much smaller pond because of comfortability, but also because of the fear of what can be on the other side of not having those people around you anymore. And it's not just being alone in isolation, it's also the fear of judgment from those that are closest to you. So people may feel fearful to cut off people that no longer align with them because they think, well, I don't want that person to now think less of me or think ill of me or speak wrong of me, because I now know that I have outgrown where I am. I am now being attracted to more people that I'm more compatible with now. And although that I've had a great relationship and great friendships with these people, it's not so much that you have to completely cut them off and never speak to them again, which a lot of people, like I've already mentioned, will either confine themselves to a smaller space or do the cutthroat thing and just walk completely away. There is a situation where if you have actually genuinely good friends and people that you really do love and care about, they will understand that you have to now dedicate your time to a different space and environment. That it's not just a case of it's us or them. It shouldn't be an ultimatum when it comes to friendships or even relationships where you want to do something bigger with your life, you want to change your life, get in better shape, change your habits, change the way that you are living, have a bigger vision of what you want your life to look like. Your partner shouldn't make you feel guilty for wanting to do that. So instead of seeing it as a case of, right, this person needs to be completely cut out of my life or I'm going to confine myself, understand that if that was a real relationship or a real friendship or a genuine business partnership, that you would find a common ground where you can meet in the middle, where there's an understanding as to what's happening, where there's an appreciation of what's happening. I understand you're growing and I'm going to support you on your journey. And when we're talking about the people that do cut people off easily, sometimes there's times where it's very justifiable, where it's like, I'm just not going to accept things in my life that don't serve me, and I'm not going to accept people to behave a certain way towards me, or I'm not willing to tolerate that kind of behavior in my life. And that, for some people, can also be a cause of past trauma, where they've let people stay in their life too long and they've seen what happened, or they've seen a common trait in a new person that they saw in someone else, and they immediately start to project what they used to see beforehand based off the evidence they'd gathered themselves off of someone else's actions. And they now think this person's going to be the exact same as the last person because I've noticed one thing that's similar in them. So to protect themselves, they'll just completely cut that person off instead of understanding that maybe it was just one thing. Maybe you were seeking something wrong in that person to protect yourself. You were looking for a reason to be able to escape, to be able to run away. And cutting people off is almost a defense mechanism to prevent ourselves from getting hurt, or to prevent ourselves from putting us in a situation that we don't ultimately feel comfortable in. And that happens in business, relationships and friendships in many different ways. But the way to really deal with it is understand, why am I staying in a spot that is confining me too much to one area? Or why am I so easy to let people go? Because there's, as I mentioned, there's many different reasons why it can happen. There's many situations and scenarios, but do you understand the reason why you behave that way? Do you understand why it is a defense mechanism for you to just cut someone out of your life the second there's things that get hard? Do you cut people off because you're not willing to face the consequences of your actions, where you've upset somebody, you've caused some kind of issue in someone's life, or you've caused some kind of discrepancy at work, or you've upset your friends by being disloyal to them, and instead of just holding your hands up and accepting accountability, you just cut them off and then say that it was their fault. There's a reason why I left was because I had their behaviour, and you justify your actions of not wanting to face accountability by blaming everybody else and putting the blame on them and saying that this is justifiable for me to behave this way because they made me feel this way, as a defence mechanism again. So for me, the way I've always seen it, the people that I have ultimately walked away from or cut off or maybe not been around as often as I used to be, it's not for any other reason than I understand that if I keep staying in environments that aren't serving the higher purpose that I have, I'm only going to be able to blame myself in the future for not living the life I want to. And I'm not going to be able to give the best version of me to the people around me, because if their way of showing the way that they're taking or accepting the fact that I've had to move myself further away, or I've had to be the distant friend or be the distant son or be the distant partner because I'm focusing on something that's ultimately going to contribute to the betterment of our lives, if they can't accept that, then they're not meant to come with me. And it's a hard pill to swallow, and it is a situation where you really sometimes can feel guilty for it. You can feel very guilty for leaving people behind, or for leaving these people that once really cared about you, loved you, got such great memories with, to go and be with other people, as that can be viewed by external forces or be seen as yourself, as I say, as a level of internal guilt. But what we need to understand is we all go through these chapters of life where we're either growing or we're dying. And when you're going to allow your dreams to be diminished because you're willing to stay in a circle that ultimately doesn't contribute to the attainment of that goal, that lifestyle, or who you want to be, because the support just isn't there. You share a business idea with them, you share something brand new, or maybe you've already started a business and they're not supporting it the way that you would support them, or they're not even just simply liking your content, or they're not just sharing that you've opened a new business and telling other people, telling their followers, telling their friends on what you're doing and what you're achieving. You don't feel that support. And that enough can make you either quit something or keep going forward. So when it comes to like justifying if you should cut people off or keep them in your life, understand first of all, what type of people do I want to have in my life? Who do I want to have around me? And are the people that are currently around me, are they serving this avatar that I've created of the people I want to be surrounded by? But we can't just outsource that and constantly justify or not justify why we're letting people leave or come in out of our lives. We need to understand is, are we who we should be to be able to have the type of person we want around us? Are we who we need to be to enable them to come into our lives? Because a lot of people are too busy trying to wish for more than they're willing to work for. They're saying they want to have the best partner. They're saying they want to have different friends. They're saying they wish their friends supported them more and would like their content and comment and do all these things. But do you actually do that for other people? Do you do the things you wish that the people you could be around are doing? Because if the answer is no, then you need to ask yourself, do I even deserve to be in that social circle? Do I deserve to have that support from my friends, from my family? Because cutting people off, it comes down to many different reasons. But the key one you have to ask yourself is, why am I holding on to people that don't serve me for so long? If you struggle to let people go, or why am I so quick to let people go? Is it because I'm fearful of what it could do to me if I continue holding on to these spaces? Or is it because I'm not willing to face the accountability of my actions? I feel like I can treat people how I want and they should just accept it.